Hello there, and happy Thursday. So the first thing I want to say is just apologize for the absolute state of how I look. I was out staging in the bitter cold today, and for anyone who's in Canada and more specifically in southwestern Ontario, it is a brutally cold day, but we're surviving anyway. So listen, I wanted to do a really quick video today just to talk a little bit about working in luxury homes. It's a question that I get often. And this is not about how to land the jobs in luxury homes, it's actually how to work with the clients in luxury homes because they are a little bit of a different style of client. So, first and foremost, what I want to remind you is that just because they may supposedly have more money than your average client doesn't mean that they're going to be any more willing to spend a dime of it, especially because you got to keep in mind this is a house that they're selling. So, as you are probably already aware, homeowners tend to be a little bit reluctant sometimes to spend the money on the house that they're selling versus the one that they're going to be getting. So sometimes convincing them to spend a little bit of money on a luxury home can be just as challenging as any other home. And keep in mind as well that just because someone owns a large house doesn't mean they have any more expendable income, right? So it doesn't mean that they are extremely liquid and have a ton of cash sitting around. You know, they could be house poor for all you know. So don't make any assumptions about the type of money that they have. And when it comes to the money issue, you want to be respectful and sensitive about what they may or may not be capable of. So don't, like I said, don't make any assumptions, but you also want to make sure that you are treating their money the same way that you would if it was yours. So if you're telling them they need to spend $10,000 on updates, just because they may have the money, you still have to think of it as that's still $10,000 of updates you're asking them for. So you want to do your best to reduce their costs anywhere you possibly can. Show them that you value every hard-earned dollar that they are investing and that you will do your best to provide them with solutions in order to save money where you can. That doesn't mean cutting corners, but that is key to working in a luxury home as well, is you need to understand, where to spend the money and where maybe you can buy off the rack, so to speak. So if you're doing any sort of furnishings in the home, you do want to make sure that they look high end, but it doesn't mean they have to be top quality, because remember, the durability of them is not what's important. It's more the aesthetics and the look. So obviously we're not bringing in IKEA by any means, but so we're bringing in maybe a leather chair. It doesn't have to be actual leather necessarily. It just has to look like it's a good quality leather. It has to look like it's in good shape. So you want to keep that in mind as well. Oftentimes in these homes, they'll have custom window coverings, but maybe we can buy off the rack for some of those things. Whereas when it comes to the countertop, obviously you're not going to be putting laminate anywhere in a luxury home. It's got to be some sort of stone type product. So those are the things that you want to be able to weigh out throughout the home. Make sure you're not cheaping out necessarily anywhere, and you're providing that quality look that the buyers are going to be wanting. So when it comes to speaking with your homeowners, you want to make sure that you're speaking their language a little bit. And it's not to say that just because someone has a luxury home, it means that they speak a totally different language than everybody else does. But they often like to, and I am generalizing here, but keep in mind that's kind of what we do. We kind of group a lot of people together. So use your judgment, obviously, when you're working with them. But generally, I like to do my best to point out any elements that I recognize as being top quality or high end. So familiarize yourself with some brand names, especially when it comes to maybe appliances, window coverings. Hunter Douglas has a very specific look to their window coverings. So you might want to familiarize yourself with that, because if you can identify that they paid for a Hunter Douglas, which is usually about triple of pretty much any other custom window covering you can buy, they're going to appreciate that, and they're going to respect your and value your opinion that much more. Take a look at their appliances, Thermador, Electrolux. Those all scream quality appliances as well. So take some time to figure out the different finishes that you're going to see in a luxury home, and that will help you to build a bit more of a rapport with your clients. You also want to shower them with compliments, but you don't want to necessarily show that you're in awe of everything. So we do a lot of luxury homes, and I have no problem saying to a client, like, despite the number of homes I've done, I've never seen anything as well done as this particular piece that you have here. Or, this is an absolutely stunning piece of artwork by whatever the famous artist is. So they want to be, again, they want to be flattered. They want to be recognized for some of the quality that they've put into the place, but they don't want to feel as though it's your first time looking at such a nice house. Because if you're walking through like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this before, which is still often what some of my movers will say when I bring them into a house, or maybe a staging assistant might say that when I bring them into a house, and that doesn't exactly exude confidence for your sellers, to make sure that you actually are not out of your element. You don't want to make it seem as though you're out of your element. Now, all of that said, concentrate on, if you're not as overly comfortable in luxury homes, because maybe you haven't got a lot of friends that have luxury homes, you haven't spent a lot of time in them, familiarize yourself with a more comfortable price point before working your way up to those luxury homes, because once that confidence builds, you'll have no problem working in any type of home. I was very fortunate that I've had a lot of fairly successful friends over the years, and so I spent plenty of time in luxury homes long before I ever got into this industry. So it was something that I was already quite comfortable with, and I was already quite familiar with a lot of the various furniture type pieces and brand names and everything else. The other thing that I wanted to say was, pay attention to any cool gadgets that are out there too, because if you can suggest maybe a really cool aspect, maybe for this house or the next house, again, that'll help to build rapport as well. And then understand their needs. So why are they selling? Just like any other client, why are they selling? What type of house are they going into? How can you help them? One of the nice things about a luxury home is that a lot of the times these clients do have a little bit more money, and they do tend to value their time much more than the dollars in their pocket. So they are someone that would be that much more willing to hire you to provide full services for them. So if you're being hired to do a consultation for them, for example, but you feel that they could really use some help with packing their items up, rearranging the furniture, whatever it might be, such a great opportunity to sell those extra services to them. It's not just about the staging. I know that a lot of the luxury properties that I work in, I go in there with my movers and I rearrange their furniture. I move some items to an offsite storage facility if we need to. I've changed out window coverings. We've done updates, repairs, full renovations. I've done packing for my luxury clients. Some of my luxury clients have actually moved out of the country before I even get my hands on their house. So they've never even met me in person, and they're fully trusting me to pack up their belongings, secure everything, move things around as needed. So very, very common service that we offer is moving all this furniture around. So that's something to consider, is what do you offer to these clients, and how can you best service their needs? Again, without necessarily breaking the bank, but you want to make sure that you're getting paid valuably for your time as well. And I think that's basically all that I wanted to say about all of this. At the end of the day, don't be intimidated by luxury homes. You'd be surprised. Oftentimes, I think a lot of the homeowners for luxury homes are often way nicer and more down to earth than some of my other clients, but you will have a varying type of personalities there. And I think, like I said, number one is if you live in a luxury home, you're often accustomed to having people try to take advantage of you. And, we have a luxury neighborhood where I live, for example, and there's like kind of an industry term that there's a tax on that area, that when you hire a contractor, they're going to hire on that luxury tax, basically. It's not a real price thing, obviously. It's just basically what it says is that if they know that you live in a nice house, they're going to charge you more. And I make sure that none of my trades quote a higher price for my luxury homes than another home. Obviously they're larger jobs, so they're going to cost a little bit more money, but I want to make sure that at the end of the day, they're not hiking up their prices, because I wouldn't do that either. So when it comes to the rental items, you may need to hike up your prices a little bit in order to cover the luxury items. They will understand that you are providing them with a higher quality staging rental item in the house, and that's what they need to pay for. So hopefully you find these tips super useful. Again, my apologies for looking like this. It was an awesome staging, a really quick last minute staging that I had to squeeze in today, which was partly why I was a few minutes late arriving to my office hours. But hopefully everyone is staying warm. I know that some of you guys are actually in much more southern temperatures, and I am envious of that. Anyway, all in all, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks.